So let me see here. Summoner Speak. I don't know what episode this is. Technically, I'm kind of. It started as it was like the boot camp thing. I was doing guest speakers, which I think I was gonna have you do one. I've seen that things have been going pretty well for you. I would imagine. You were recently a part of, I believe it was a Twitch Rivals event. As you know, I stream on Facebook right now, but I do keep tabs on the Twitch scene a little bit. I know you were in Tyler One's team, I believe, for, I don't know when it was. I'm just not sure about the timeline, but it seemed like you guys did pretty well and things were pretty cool. Am I right?
Yeah, it was excellent. Honestly, Twitch Rivals, dude, they gotta hook you Facebook guys up with like a Facebook Rivals or something because I seriously, like, it's so much fun. Yeah. So I've actually competed in 4 of them over the last year. And it's kind of one of those things that, like, once you're in, like, people see what you can do. So it's like, once you're in, right? You're gonna get drafted like pretty much every single time. So now I guess that doesn't apply to everyone. That's how it's worked out for me. Once I was in it, it's like I've competed in every one since.
That's cool.
But yeah, I got drafted by Tyler this last one. That was really fun. I think we got 3rd place. I've never finished like worse than 3rd place, which is pretty cool. And then this last one, I was chosen to be a captain, so I got to, like, you know, have the whole captain experience, draft my own team.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yeah, I've been part of a contract with Facebook now for a while, and one of the things that you know, I'm kind of like, I don't know how I feel, like, and I don't know how much I should say. Like, I don't want to sound like super negative on Twitch against Twitch, because I'm not. I think there's pros and cons to both, actually. Like, for one, like, I get a lot of questions about, like, oh, why aren't you streaming on Twitch right now? And it's like, well, I'm with Facebook right now, and that's, you know, that's great, and it's working out really well for me. But the other thing is, I'm sitting here, it's like, I don't necessarily miss everything about Twitch. Now, I can't speak for your channel or your chat, but I always found that, like, when I'm on Facebook, it's a lot less toxic for me. But I obviously am getting less viewers than I would be on Twitch. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I imagine it probably is, like, overall less toxic because of the whole, like, I'm not super familiar with Facebook, but don't you have to, like, sign up with your real name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So little, you know, Joey Badass isn't gonna come into your chat with his full name and address, you know, like, probably get a lot less flamers that way.
Yeah, I've seen it. I feel like I don't have a need for mods quite as much, other than to deal with like blatant stupid stuff, but it's very, very rare. And so I don't know, man, like, who knows what the future's gonna hold with me with these platforms. Like, I'm down for any platform at this point. Like, I could go any which way. And I agree with you. I think Twitch does a really good job with the Twitch rival stuff. That's been one of the cooler initiatives that I've seen them do since I've switched over, is that they started really amping those up around the same time that I left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like they started doing them. It seemed like every other month or something. It was like they were doing a Twitch Rivals thing.
Yeah, I think I was in one in February, and then this last one was in April, and I'm sure the next one's gonna be like next month or something. But yeah, honestly, I know you said they started them basically right after you left. The Twitch Rivals, like, culture itself has also changed, because at first it was just like a you know, oh, let's get some content creators together, let's have some laughs. But, like, anytime that there's prize money involved, especially with these, like, egregious prizes, like, dude, like, it's an Amazon funded tournament, if that tells you anything. Like, there's huge prize pools, so it, like, what's
been the biggest prize pool that they've done for, like, a league one?
I think first place, well, you get money just for being drafted at all. So, like, there's participation, and then you get like $250 for every game that you win in groups. And then there's also bonuses for, you know, finishing in like top 4. And then first place is like, I mean, it's like $5,000 per person or something. So
that's cool.
You know, it started off with, you know, hey, let's get, you know, Voy Boy and his buddies together and let's just have some fun. But, like, it's seriously gotten, like, really cutthroat, to the point where, like, I don't know if you saw the teams last time, but we were basically playing against C9 out there, NEACE.
Yeah.
Like, swear to God, man, they had, like,
I saw that.
Sneaky and High and Balls out there. Like,
yeah,
dude,
they all showed
anymore.
up. Yeah, they all showed up. I saw that, and they did get beat. It was like Tarzan's team. Normally Tarzan has pretty good results in those.
We beat them. We kicked them out.
Oh, you kicked them out. Were you on? Was that Tarzan's team, or is that not?
I was on Tarzan's team when I was on Tyler's team, but this last one I was Yeah, I was just on my own team. I was the captain for that one.
Oh, cool. Well, that's awesome. And like I said, I mean, this is going to sound bad, but you know me, and I'm just keeping it real with you. And I obviously put you on here because I respect you a great deal. I've seen how much you've been working in the scene, and I keep my eyes on a lot. And one of the things I saw with you is like, I personally, years ago, I didn't know how good you were going to be. Like I didn't know. And it was one of those things where it was like, because I remember you would message me from time to time and I'd be like, I don't know. And I feel like our times would never sync up to where we could like duo or anything. And I was just kind of like, I don't really know about this Ioki guy, but it seems like things are going pretty well for you. What's been your peak elos past couple years? Because I know you play pretty actively.
I do play actively, but I don't typically like, I'm not someone that just like hardcore grinds on my main. Like for instance, I'm sitting around like 180, 200 LP right now, and I've got like 60, and I've got like 65 games clocked. So like, I'm just not someone who like hardcore grinds solo queue.
But that's a really good result for a minimal. Do you know what I mean? That's really good for a minimal time invested.
Yeah, and I still like put in the hours. I still, you know, study the game. I still keep tabs on like what's, you know, I keep my pulse on the what's the saying? Keep my finger on the pulse of the meta.
Yeah,
I know what's strong, and I play, you know, like Clash every time it's around. Dude, it's just like, and this is probably going to lead into a whole new topic, but it's solo high elo solo queue is just so miserable, dude. I feel like I'm torturing myself out there, bro.
No, you are.
So like, I'll play in these tourneys, I'll play in these, you know, big money matches, I'll play in Clash with the boys, but dude, solo queue, it's not even worth it anymore in my eyes.
I know, and I honestly, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, like I've been hounding these Riot guys with these lists of like things to improve ranked, and it has got like, I had one Rioter, it was actually, it's funny, it was one of the guys that interviewed me when I went to Riot. It was one of the guys that interviewed me years ago. And I always joke, like, thank God I didn't get that job because streaming turned out to be a lot better than I imagined. But at the time, I really wanted the Riot job, right? And so when I messaged whoever it was, he's on my list somewhere, but I sent him my list of like changes, and he's like, yeah, I'll look at it. And he followed me back on Twitter. So who knows? But basically, I have been complaining about solo queue for a while. I've been complaining that duo's still in the game at all. I've been complaining that data mining's in the game. I don't know why we can't opt out of data mining. Like, I should be able to not be
I'm completely ignorant on that front. So like, are they just like taking like private information?
It's not that. No, not data mining in the sense of like, that's good that you don't know what I'm talking about. So it's good for the people that are listening. I'm saying that when we go into a match, I don't believe that you should be able to look up my champion history, my match history, because I think that's really bad. Yeah, I think that's really bad for the game long term. And I think it breeds a really, not that I give a shit too much about toxicity necessarily, but the problem is it seems that people can't really help themselves. Like, they should be focused on the game, but they're not, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're focused on like, if I look you up right now, and I mean, no offense to you specifically, but just in this example, say we get into a game together and I look you up and you've lost like 7 or 8 in a row, and I see that, I'm gonna go into that game with like a negative aura, right?
Right. You're gonna assume it's pretty much already over. Or worst case scenario, and I'm not gonna assume that you do this, but plenty of people do, you're going to try to do something about it, like force a dodge.
Force a dodge. Oh, I forced a dodge.
And then it's just like
forced a dodge.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I absolutely forced a dodge.
I mean, what I'll say is that I force dodges too, but never on purpose, bro. I don't.
He's here, I'm out. No, like I'm saying that like I will happily force a dodge because it's in the game and they're not doing anything. I'm a firm believer, like, if you're not cheating, like, I'm not saying that you should cheat, but I'm saying that like, as long as you're not cheating, if it's in the game, there's no, you see what I'm saying? That's Riot's job. Right?
Yeah.
You can't sit here and go.
I feel like there's like a fine line to walk there, though. Okay, so like, give me an example of like what you think should be allowed.
What should be allowed? Well, okay. Basically, when people join a game, we shouldn't see each other's names. First of all,
okay.
In my opinion, we shouldn't see each other's names, and there shouldn't be duo. And if someone leaves the game after they've seen the lobby, the game is gonna happen. So they could either leave and force an AFK and we all just remake in the game, and they just take the loss, right?
Right.
or they just leave in the pregame lobby and they just eat the loss right there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a like difficult, like circular problem, right? Like dodging is a strategy, if you want to call it that, that like every single high elo player has to basically learn. You have to know which lobbies to dodge. And I'm not like putting it on the pedestal and saying like, oh, this player is really good at dodging, he knows when to dodge. But like, it's gotten so bad that like there are games that are just instant losses. So your options are to sit there and put yourself through a 35-minute slugfest.
But they're only, yeah, I agree with you, but they're only going to be instant losses as often as players know that they have the option to dodge. They'll take their picks a lot more seriously if they knew that they couldn't always do that. That's what I've been trying to say.
I wish I believed that. I don't know how you make people take their picks more seriously, bro. I got Nubrak out here, you know, first time in roaming Jinx support. Do I really play that game?
I mean, but here's the thing. By that argument, you could happily just eat the loss. Like if you really felt that like you were going to lose, then you could just save the time. You'd still have the option to save that time.
Oh, so okay.
If you really believe that, I don't believe, like, I've had this discussion with a lot of people. I agree with you that there are people that are miserable to play with, but I don't believe that they're to the degree that the community likes to suggest. I'm not saying that they don't exist, and I'm not saying that for the first 2 to 3 months it wouldn't be miserable, right? When everybody's going, let's fuck people's day up, right? That's going to happen, but eventually it would stabilize. Now, there's another topic entirely, and I've talked about this with other guests, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But like, the other issue is I agree that the matchmaking system should probably just be better in general. Yeah. Like, you know, if we report somebody for doing, like you said, the forced dodges stuff, the only reason that I would do it is because I know that they're not punishing it. Why wouldn't I do it? Like, yeah,
and that's the thing, is that they're all connected. We've got like North American solo queue cultural issues, compounding on top of like the inherent bad matchmaking, compounding on top of this like fact that everyone knows that like dodging is a thing. So like we have forced dodges, we have people cherry picking their games, you know, increasing dodge queue timers and leading ultimately to players like us that play less, which also compounds all of those problems because then the player pool is smaller and dodge timers are long, or queue timers are longer, and it's just all a mess, man. We need a reset. We need a real reset.
I also said that on the list. I said
basics, bro.
I said
the whole system. Start over.
Yep, I said it, and people go, "Well, it's gonna ruin the ladder." It's like, dude, the ladder is ruined.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
everyone's dodging like they're playing poker. They're literally like, I'm gonna fold 30 games before I play this match.
That's such a good comparison.
It's what it is, though.
We're treating solo queue like poker.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, I got dealt Nubrak, right? Well, let me look at my hand here. Oh my God, pocket Nubraks. I'm getting the fuck out of here, right? Get me the hell out of here. I'm not playing with this shit. And then you look down, oh, double Tarzan. I'm keeping this one, right? Like, I'm not dodging this no matter
dude,
what.
Honestly, man, I don't mean to trash talk a recent teammate of mine, but Tarzan is about like as problematic as, dude, Tarzan's unhinged, man. I don't know if you've gotten into his game recently. The dude's taking champion requests, so his chat will pay him $50 to play any champion in jungle. He's playing this stuff in 1,300 LP games, dude.
No, he's always one of the characters. I'm gonna try to get him on at some point and talk to him on here.
He'd be a blast to have on. He's so funny, like unintentionally funny, man. Like everyone hates Tarzan, and I kind of hate him too. But I got a soft spot for him, man. He's kind of funny.
I think he's a victim of. I shouldn't use the term victim for Tarzan. People will be like, "You saying he's a victim?" I would say I think he's a victim of. He's what happens when you go too hard in competition.
Yeah.
Like he is basically he has the potential to be so good in terms of
he is good, man. Like
he's incredible. Like, I'm saying good in the sense that like the community will let him play like pro.
Right. And people always like hold the worst parts against him and like never really give him credit where credit is due. Like people always act surprised. Like for instance, I just played in a 10K money match and I drafted Tarzan and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you intentionally put Tarzan on your team? Do you know what that's going to do to your team morale?" And like surprise, surprise, like he was super chill. Like we had a great team, we had an excellent team environment. We were joking around with each other. We took practice seriously. Like he's not some like monster You know what I mean? Like, just because, you know, the game gets the best of him sometimes.
I think he's pretty monstrous if you bump into him in solo queue at a bad time.
Oh yeah, solo
But
queue.
like,
It's
everybody
so hard
is.
to, like, human. Yeah, like solo queue just dehumanizes us, seriously. It really does, man. Like, I've had, like, good friends that, like, I don't say a word to them. We get in solo queue, and, like, you know, I didn't get a correct roam timer off or something, and, like, he genuinely dislikes me from that point forward. It's like, it's so hard to, like, remember that there's human beings playing this game.
I had one of those experiences. I feel really bad because I don't really mind Nidhogg that much. But I swear to God, I was running into this guy. Like, I have no give a shit. Nidhogg's cool as far as I'm concerned, just to be clear. But what I'm saying is, like, years ago, I remember I was playing high elo, and every time I bump into Nidhogg, he would do some variation of just misplaying in my lane. It happened like 3 times in a row. Like, he would show up in my lane. I'd be playing like GP or Trinamir or some shit. He would show up. He would, like, do a dive, like a really cocky dive, botch it, right? And I'm sure he normally gets away with it. I'm sure it's normally fine. And then I remember I was just like, I fucking can't stand playing with you, dude. And he's like the nicest guy. And I'm just like, I just couldn't handle it. I was like, I swear to God, are you doing this on purpose? Every game that I get you, it's like, you know how it is, high elo. You wait like 20 minutes to get a game. It's like, this guy is sabotaging me. And finally he was just like, why do you think I'm about to get you, man? We're just like arguing, and it's like years later you just laugh about it because it's like it doesn't mean anything, but we just get so. But in the moment it
does, man. Like, you've invested your entire night playing this game, and from your perspective, someone else is, you know, ruining it for you. It's so hard, man.
Yeah,
I genuinely, dude, I can't type anymore. Like, if I allow myself to type, it's just gonna be all negative stuff, or like even worse, like faux positive stuff. Like, you know, we throw a Baron, and it's like, oh, nice try, smile. Like, that's not gonna lead to a higher win rate. So I just can't type anymore, dude.
Yeah, when I did the boot camp, I had everybody turn off their chat, myself included, and
best piece of advice any new player can follow.
It was beneficial. I would say pretty much everybody was happy to do that no chat fast. It was pinglish only, right? Only use the pings to communicate everything.
English.
Yeah, it's really, that's the boot camp term for it. I really like that term because there's so many, and you know this, and you've been playing with people that are really good for a while, so you know what I'm about to say. It's when people ping their intent, just any idea that they have, right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna walk over here, I'm pinging. It's funny because I'm looking at one of your YouTube videos in the background here right now, and you're pinging stuff constantly, and your team's pinging stuff constantly, and you can tell that it's a real lobby. But you could ping anything. You could ping a dive, you could ping your roam, you could ping your item, you could ping your back, you could ping, you see what I'm saying? You could ping on the way to try to, like, encourage your teammates to bait. There's just so many techniques that come with that, and a lot of people really underestimate it and how strong it is.
I agree. It really is. I mean, it's funny that you call it Pinglish because it actually is like a language. It's like a dialogue back and forth between your teams. And just like with any language, there are people that are going to abuse it and bend it for, you know, the classic Mia ping. And sometimes, bro, all it takes is one Mia ping. Play goes wrong, and one person, even if it's a joke or something, even if it's a sarcastic Mia ping, that one person that drops a ping. My favorite thing used to do, like if I'm just like playing with friends or something, I always just use the blue ping so then nobody knows who's pinging. But like the intent is very clear. Like the jungler misses smite and a single blue ping drops on the jungler's head. It's just like, and then the jungler like loses their mind trying to figure out who it was. But,
and they do the thing and they go, if you ping me again, I swear to God.
Yeah, exactly.
Ping me one more time. It's like, oh, dude, you're such a Chad.
I wonder what percentage of people that threaten that. It's like, oh, one more Mia ping, I'm going to leave the game. I actually wonder what percentage of people leave because I feel like they never do. They're just they need this LP just as bad as us, man. You're in the same boat, bro. You're not going anywhere.
You ain't better than us, dude. You're gonna stay in here and take my MIA pings if I'm gonna send 10 at you.
You know, people, it's hard because as a support streamer, I get people in my chat every single day saying like, oh, how do you climb a support? And it's just like such a like bad cookie cutter question. Like it's just fundamentals. The same way you climb in every single role. Fundamentals, right? Like you do the correct thing over and over and over. You practice it. When it goes wrong, you understand and teach yourself why it went wrong. But like people don't want that. People think that there's like some secret champion that like all the other support streamers that they probably asked this stupid ass question to like didn't tell them. So like honestly, dude, I've gotten so frustrated to the point where like I seriously get that question like 5 times a day, and it's just become like a meme within my community because now I'm just saying full AP Quinn.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm kind of that guy though. Like I'm legit. Yeah. I'm kind of that guy. And the reason I say that is because I definitely have moments where I look at bot lane right now, and it just seems like anytime I went down there, I just feel like, holy shit, if I don't play some like killer poke champ, like I'm just mad a lot.
To
like
clarify,
in low elo.
I said full AP Quinn as like I don't feel like answering this question for the 50th
Oh no,
time
no,
today.
I got it. I got the pun, obviously. No, I got the pun. I'm just saying that for me, honest to God, like I've been down there now multiple times, and I mean I saw like, okay, so I coached Ninja on one of my videos recently. And he's playing AD carry, and he's doing his thing. And you know, for me, my AD carry options seem so limited, but all the other roles, for anything outside of bot lane, I can give you a ton of different strategies. Like I could go right off the rip. I could be like, top lane, I could pull up my banjo and start, well, you play Gangplank, play Tryndamere, play Fiora, play this shit, play Shen, play Nasus, play this, right? But if I go down to bot lane, I'm just like, well, for AD carry, you can play maybe Tristana to get a good win rate, maybe Ezreal, and just hide under your tower while your team ints. Like,
oh, dude, I hate Ezreal players, man. I hope no one followed your advice on that one. I hope
it's
that
weird.
you have not spawned another Ezreal player into the world.
It's weird though, because I know it's not. Oh, my Ezreal's pretty good, but what I'm saying is he's good in a solo queue environment because he never because you're a support main. You actually know how to play support, right? And this goes both ways. You're gonna get the Ezreals that suck dick, and then you're gonna get the Leonas that slob knob too, that like don't go in. And so what happens is, you're like, well, if I play Ezreal, this has always been my argument, because my highest win rate climbs on bot lane solo have been Ezreal every time. If I tried anything else other than I swear to God, I did it on a stream last year. I played the diamond with like 70% win rate Ezreal, and I was bad in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like really bad. Like I was not winning, and I wasn't winning in like silver and gold in the beginning. And then I started figuring out what my playstyle was, and what it wound up being was just like, don't die.
Recommending people to play Ezreal is like recommending people, when I get that question, how do you climb a support? That would be like me recommending people to play Yumi. Like, yes, it is a safe champion, and you're always going to be like useful, I guess, in some sense. But like your agency is like, I don't know.
I found it's actually, it's better than you would think. But again, it's like you said, it's like, I recommend it, but it's like, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like I play shit like Gangplank before. I played shit like Jace. I've obviously played dumb shit, easy stuff like Maokai Jungle. It's like the first season I ever made Challenger was I was playing Maokai Jungle. This is like season 7 or 6 or whatever it was. I was playing Maokai Jungle as a backup, right? When I was put in jungle, and it was working. And it was just like, I'll play brain dead stuff if it makes sense, right? But Ezreal was just always safe. But you're right. It's not something that you fist pump lock. And the majority of the players that play Ezreal, they don't understand that it's like, he's got to stack his passive Qs, and he's got to actually push into people. And then it was like, when I was coaching Ninja on the YouTube video, it was like, I was explaining to him like, yeah, we've played like a bitch for 15 minutes. Now you've got to actually loosen up once you get your items. Like you've got to really start pumping on people instead of just chilling, right? And that's just, all that stuff is kind of outside of a lot of people's pay grades. Otherwise, I just say Tristana. But my point of this whole rant, and not to take over so much airtime, my point of this whole rant was just like, I don't know good support champs. Like, and I think that's where that question comes from, is I just don't feel like I can get high win rates on support very easily anymore, and I don't have a big list.
Yeah, it's a weird role, honestly. Like the meta right now is actually favoring my style of playstyle of like pretty heavy roams, you know, play for jungle, secure those crabs, be the first one to rotate, and like have high agency by being like the first one to pull the trigger. But very, very soon, I'm pretty sure that Riot is like forcing an enchanter meta. So it'll be interesting to see like players like me and Alicopter, if that takes a toll on us, right? Because like I'm pretty sure Riot's like trying hard to push like Lulu and Moonstone and Shurelia's like to the forefront of the bot lane meta, where your impact isn't as obvious. You know, when I'm asked for AD carry, like, oh, who's your favorite AD carry to support? I like playing with Tristana's because the impact is very obvious, it's very immediate. You don't really need like an enchanter. You just kind of go. You just kind of go and you make the plays, which that's always been like my strength as a player is I see people when they're out of position and I'm good at like capitalizing on it. But it's harder to do that when you're playing Lulu, right? Like you can ping that someone's out of position, but you're gonna have to rely on other people to do stuff for you. And I think that that's a big part of League of Legends is you want to minimize how much you want to rely on other people. And that sounds kind of weird coming from a support player that plays Leona that doesn't really do that much damage. Well, I guess it's debatable whether people think she does a lot of damage, but she's not going to do as much damage as an Aurelia or a Tristana or a Brand or whatever. But yeah, kind of forgot where I was going with that.
No, this was good, and I want to go back to what you were saying about how you communicate your intent with like the pinging stuff that we were talking about earlier. This was why I say I was going to go back to this because I think it's really important. One of the things that I found with bot lane, and I was telling you the story about how I was like struggling initially to climb with Ezreal. Like I have good mechanics, but I wasn't figuring out the flow. Like I have a flow on most of my champs. If I'm playing GP top, I know that I just have to chill till, Triforce spike in level 13 and then I can loosen up. And so I like to play those farming styles. But the thing was, no matter what I was doing, I just wasn't making it work in bot lane until I started pinging my supports to do things. That was actually the thing that turned the tide. And it started clicking. It's like, yeah, they just don't know because they actually don't have a play in mind. And you are responsible for, even though you're the AD carry, you're responsible for pinging to your teammates. And it's worse in bot lane than any other role. Pinglish is actually the most important skill, I think, that like separates. If like you used Helicopter as an example, and I'm watching you ping people right now. Helicopter's one of the kings of doing that shit. He'll ping the shit out of you, and that's good because it's like I'm coming, and you just see like 10 pings. Like a motherfucker, I guess I gotta go.
Yeah.
Like I gotta play this stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a really, really important skill because it just goes back to what I said earlier, dude. Like it's the team that's on the same page, especially in solo queue.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was good.
Dude, 5 people, even if it's the wrong play, bro, 5 people doing the wrong thing is gonna turn out way better than like 1 or 2 people doing the quote unquote right thing. Yeah. As long as like we're all on the same page with it.
That's the ape strong, isn't it?
When I go, you're gonna win. Yeah, ape strong, bro. Ape strong.
Ape strong. Yeah, I've seen some plays that have just been head scratchers, but everybody committed to it. It's like every so often, and this play. Every so often in high elo, you'll get that random level 1 dive under the tower.
Yep.
And you're just like, those kids were committed.
Yeah,
and they like
ready.
pull it off.
And we weren't ready, so we were on our back foot. That's another thing. Like the person that like shoots first in solo queue has the advantage always. Like sometimes you're gonna look like an idiot because you're gonna dive and you're gonna be completely alone, and it's just like what the hell was that guy doing? Like even if you're on the receiving end, like you get dove and like they didn't even like put a scratch in you. You're just like, what were they doing? Well, at least they were doing something, man. They weren't just like waiting for the LP to appear for them. Like you know what I mean? Like at least they took action.
Yeah.
The person that takes action has such a huge advantage in solo
That's
queue.
honestly, it's so funny that you use the term agency because I've been hounding that term in the past like couple months. I just feel like there's so many players in my coachings that really need that like swift go nad kick of like, I'm like yelling at clients lately. I'm like, look, dude, like you need to fucking go. Like I'm not gonna sit here and watch this all day. Like you paid me money and I want you to like, I've told clients and I've gotten bitched at YouTube comments sometimes because I've told clients to damn near int because I just got so tired of them standing there. It's like, please go fight so that you can understand what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like you just need to know because if you never fight, you'll never learn anything. And so many guys are just like, but what if the opponent does this? And it's like, well, yeah, if the opponent played perfect, he wouldn't be in friggin' bronze. So
Exactly. And when the play goes wrong, that's such a good learning experience. Like you dive and then you analyze why the dive didn't work, right? Like, oh, did I not account for the fact that he had flash and heal still up? Did, I go when my ADC just used her cooldowns and she wasn't ready to output damage? Like, it's so much faster, dude. Just go, like, there's a very unpolitically correct way of saying it that I won't say it, but you can go full monkey, right?
Yeah.
You can go full monkey and learn the game at an accelerated rate, or you can fiddle faddle, not ever take action, just sit around and hope that your team is better and you won the coin flip and like you'll win 50% of your games for the rest of your life, right?
I feel like even enchanters, because it was funny you were talking about enchanters earlier, and I hate like I've had enchanter clients and it's always just like, it's gonna sound bad, LS said something similar, and I'm just gonna parrot like the line. It's like, if there's an enchanter player in plat 3, they're really like gold 3.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is.
I've heard that mindset, and like I kind of agree. I mean, people apply that to like the support role in general, but also League of Legends is designed in a way that like support players are never going to believe that rhetoric, right? In the same way that like I personally think that junglers are elo inflated, not because their role is easy, but because it's so insanely powerful and has been for the last 10 years. So you're always going to have people that like
but you notice
on others.
You notice though that I didn't say engage supports, and I didn't say like carry. Yeah. I said specifically enchanter supports. Now, if you're playing some shit like, I'm gonna offend some people, but I really don't care. If you're playing some shit like Sona, if you're playing some shit like Yumi, right? Like, I know immediately, like when I get a coaching in one of those, I'm not even trying to shame anybody. I just know that they're gonna be worse at the game mechanically because of what you just said. They don't even have to know. They don't even have to know what it's like to, they just sit, like you said, back foot. They just sit back there and just float around, and they'll climb. It's actually quite interesting because those supports do so well when a game stalls out. That's why so many of clients are like in gold and platinum, and like I said, they're basically a full league ahead on average. They're like a full league ahead. If I put them on any other role, they will literally look like maybe even 2 leagues. They'll literally look just so lost. It's like they've never played the game in their life.
Right. Because they just don't, like, they don't know so much of the game. And like, no one role or like archetype of like champion that you play is going to teach you the entire game, which is why I actually do think it's like a pretty good idea to like play the other roles occasionally. Like, at least pick up jungle like a couple times per season and understand why your jungler is inting for the bottom crab, right? Because I'll be honest, dude, like once the crab meta rolled around, I never understood why junglers fought for crab. I genuinely just didn't. I was just like, go for something else, man. and I still do like kind of hold that belief, because I was on the Twitch Rivals team with Tarzan. We had a coach. Actually, it was what my jungler was named Hyper, who was like the rank 8 on North American server or something. He has apparently a bad tendency to go for crab, and our coach literally like did the math and like showed mathematically how it's like still just as good to go for the Gromp. So like if it's not a good play, like if your bot lane doesn't have prio, don't int for the Gromp or don't int for the crab. But the point of what I was saying is that like I just never understood why they did it at all. And then I played a couple games of jungle and I'm like, oh my god, this is like, the crab is very, very important. And bro, I have been a crab warrior ever since. Swear to God, I will lose an entire game for the crab, bro. I'm not even the jungler.
Yeah. I get you. And it's funny though. It's funny you say it, because a lot of my time has been spent over the years trying to do random climbs with different roles, and like being able to kind of see that picture is so nice for the game, and it's so good for empathy to a certain extent, because when people bullshit you can feel so much more confident in your decisions, right? Like when you see your jungler, like he secures like a full clear plus a crab, and then he tries to like force the second crab because he wants to feel like the biggest peen ever, right? And he wants to like,
he wants to double crab him,
he wants
man.
to,
Like,
exactly. It's like,
that's
I got
pimp
one.
Slap of the jungle role, dude. Like you asserted your dominance.
It is. It's literally. They all want it. Yeah, it's literally like you took their girl. Like you took their girl, and you're not giving her back because you took double.
Crab,
yeah, you took their crab.
That's even worse than taking their girl, dude. Junglers value crab over everything.
You ever see that guy at SOLOQ named Mr. Steal Your Gromp?
Yes.
I love some of this shit that people come up with, but it's like, it's true though. There's a lack of empathy for the jungle role. I would say though that as much as I dislike, because I'm gonna use 2 points actually. I'm gonna side with the junglers, and I'm gonna say they get bitched at the most, bar none.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Bar none. It's not even close. Again, that was one of those things like I learned like a year or so ago. I did like a jungle climb. I was like, these motherfuckers blame you for everything. Like they just blame you. They literally, it's the memes are just dead on. But the other thing that I find interesting about junglers in particular is, like you said, it's been one of the strongest, or it's the strongest role. And it's been the strongest role and the most, when we talk about agency, the only argument might be sometimes this year you had stuff that was like roaming supports that eke out and high elo the jungler, right? But ultimately, it's pretty much been jungle town for years and years. And the best explanation that I've come up with is it's like these junglers, a lot of them had, when they solved the jungle before anybody else, right? You'll have these, I'm not even going to say any names. You have like these OG junglers that have solved the jungle before anybody else for years and years and years. So imagine just like finding a champion that gets you an 80% win rate when solved. One of those champions, like when you get to high elo. So like one of those examples would be TF Blade back when Jax had whatever the hell that atrocious item combo was with the stupid stun on like a half a second cooldown.
Yeah, Shojin, Blade of Shojin or something.
So TF Blade's an amazing laner, right? He's an incredible laner. So I'm not trying to diminish his accomplishments. All I'm saying is that his accomplishments were certainly enabled by this bullshit that he had access to.
For sure.
And that's what people talk about elo inflated. Well, jungle has been that way for a long time. So imagine season 5, season 6, if you figured out how the jungle worked, there was no information on that shit, really. There was no, like, you didn't know what was going on. But guys were just crushing everybody else because they didn't have to lane. They didn't have to do any of that. They just had to solve that system, that formula. They get like 1 or 2 champions and they were getting like 80, 85% win rates. It happened all the time back in the day. Now the roles balanced a lot better, but they still matter, just not as much, right, as they used to.
Yeah, and they definitely, and it's so weird, like it's so insane, like how intrinsically tied to the entire balance of the game that the jungle is. Because you mentioned earlier, like in super high elo, roaming supports were like possibly like the strongest role, but they were only the strongest role because they enabled the jungle, better than any other position. It was it's just insane. Yeah,
it's very circular, and I would say the reason that junglers turn out to be so toxic is it's like, imagine that. Here's a good example. Imagine that you and I and maybe a couple other guys, like we're just chilling, right? And we're like, okay, we're all living together for some reason. We're in a bunker. Maybe the apocalypse hit, right? Zombie apocalypse. We'll use that.
Okay, are we still playing League of Legends?
Yeah,
bro?
yeah.
Like,
bear with me. This is my creative.
Okay.
I moonlight as a creative writer. So my point is, we're in the apocalypse now. We live in a bunker, okay? And breakfast every morning for some reason, I just keep showing up with eggs, bacon, and toast. And you guys get like the Matrix slop. Remember the Matrix movie where they roll up with like the Matrix slop and they're like, it has all the vitamins and minerals. It literally just looks like shitty oatmeal.
Okay.
So you guys keep getting shitty oatmeal and I keep eating like bacon, eggs, and toast.
You
right?
bastard.
Yeah. And then eventually you guys figure it out, right? Maybe we were separated and we're in different rooms or whatever. And you guys figure it out. And you're like, hey, we should each eat some of the slop and then split the rest of the stuff together, right? Well, you guys are going to all be happy and cool with it, but I've been eating bacon, eggs, and toast for years.
Oh, okay. This is
yes.
coming together.
Yeah.
The analogy's coming together.
Yeah,
right.
So that's why, if you've ever wondered why it feels like junglers are just whiny,
They're
ungrateful,
entitled,
if you've ever wondered, it's because the good ones, were used to 80% win rates on their own. They didn't have to do shit, right? They didn't have to lane. They could just systematically just path and own people that were just none the wiser. And eventually it caught up to them because Riot's not going to just let one role just be that dominant forever. I mean, there's educational content. There's the pro scene. There's this, there's that. Eventually they're going to figure it out. So essentially, junglers got their bacon, eggs, and toast taken away, and they've got to have kind of reasonable win rates like everybody else, but their win rates are still better than everybody else. Yeah. Most of the time. So yeah, that's my long-winded way of saying I think they just don't realize how good they had it before.
Yeah, I want to hear your long-winded way of saying jungle gap, because that was a beautiful analogy, man. I'd love to hear another.
I actually thank my wife. I know people say that shit all the time, where it's like, I love my wife, but most people's wives suck. My wife's pretty cool because she was the one that was like, you should make a coaching site or whatever. And I kind of argued with her at first. I was like, you don't know nothing about what I do. I don't need any coaching site, because I was taking coaching orders on stream, and I was like, I could juggle these on my own. And then I made the site, and I immediately just started getting booked like every day, just constantly. Like I would open up my weekends, and initially the prices were a little lower, and it was like my whole weekend, like my whole 2 weeks would be booked. Like I wouldn't have time off. I would have to schedule free time, and I still have to schedule free time. So yeah, I mean, coaching's taken off. It's been awesome. Got another boot camp in the works. We'll get you in that one.
All right, man. Hit me up.
Yeah, we'll get you in that one. We'll come up with something. Yeah, we'll come up with something for support. But I'll talk to you more about that offline. But thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks again for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, I will definitely be in touch, and good luck with streaming and everything, and just keep killing it, man. I really appreciate how much time. I know how long you've been working at streaming, and that's why I reached out to you, because I see the effort. I know how much effort you put into what you do every day, because I obviously do it as well. So keep doing what you're doing and keep killing it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, you too, brother. Later.
Peace. Good night.